What's up, everyone? Welcome to the March 1st edition, April 1st edition, not March 1st, April 1st edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a 10-game NBA slate tonight, getting very late in the regular season. So we have multiple teams just resting everybody, resting multiple starters. The Bucks are without four of their normal starters. The Grizzlies are expected to be without four of theirs. The Clippers have 8 total players. The Thunder have 8 total players. So tonight's likely to be a high-scoring slate because there is so much value. There's also good plays to pay up for. But one thing that's nice about slates like this, when there is a lot of value, is you'll still get a similar situation to what you get on normal slates, where the field is likely to still really concentrate heavily on a few specific plays when there are other very similar plays that have a similar range of outcomes as well. So it's a little bit different in terms of, just the abundance of value and how high scoring the slate's likely to be. But when you do have this much value, it does still set up actually as a pretty fun slate to play, in my opinion. So for now, we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on DraftKings using the Boom Bust tool on Awesemo.com. As always, be sure to tune into the Awesemo YouTube channel for the deeper dive and live before lock in the 2 hours leading up until tip. But for now, the top 5 tournament options, starting at number 5, Terence Mann is currently projected for about 14% ownership with a 16% chance of being in the optimal lineup. The Clippers, as I mentioned before, are only going to have 8 players active tonight. Paul George is out. Reggie Jackson is out. Marcus Morris is out. Nick Batum is out. As a result, it's difficult to get actual, any sample sizes that are big enough to really want to draw conclusions from. But just thinking about who is active on the Clippers, the guys that are likely to have the ball in their hands and be making plays and see an increase in usage, the top 2 guys on that list, in my opinion at least, are Terence Mann and Luke Kennard. Mann comes in at $5,400. It's likely that he's playing 36 minutes or so, and he's only projected for about 14% ownership, shooting guard, small forward eligible, $5,400 price tag. Also, just a more appealing matchup for the Clippers as well, given that the Bucks are sitting 4 of their starters as well. Isaiah Roby, number 4, $6,500 price tag, power forward and center eligible. He is taking on the Detroit Pistons in a game that is likely to be extremely ugly between 2 of the worst teams in the NBA. But Oklahoma City is also extremely shorthanded, only 8 players active for them. Roby is projected for 14% ownership with a 19% chance of being in the optimal lineup. And while OKC has 8 active players, one of those active players is Jeremiah Robinson Earl, who was limited to 16 minutes in their last game. I would be surprised if he plays much more than that tonight. So you kind of have a 7.5-man rotation. It's likely that you're getting mid-30s in minutes from Roby, who is about a fantasy point per minute player. Number 3, Luka Doncic, $12,100 price tag, projected for 17% ownership with a 20% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He has a favorable matchup taking on the Washington Wizards, and it's just not going to be very difficult to find the salary for Doncic, given all of the value that we have elsewhere. He is only point guard eligible, which drives down his ownership and his chances of being optimal by a little bit, just because there is less flexibility, but he's currently projected to be a little bit underowned. Number 2, going back to the Clippers, Luke Kennard is $3,800. And as I mentioned before, I think it's likely that him and Terence Mann are the 2 guys that the offense runs through the most. Kennard is likely to get up plenty of 3-point attempts. He's likely to play into the mid-30s, and he's between a 0.8 and 0.9 fantasy point per minute producer on average this season. You should see that go up a bit without all of the other high usage guys on the Clippers. He's projected for about 19% ownership with a 22% chance of being in the optimal lineup at only $3,800 with shooting guard and small forward eligibility. And coming in at number 1, Bobby Portis, $6,300 on DraftKings. Now, right now, we currently have him projected for 10% ownership. I think that comes up, but we have him with a 35% chance of being in the optimal lineup. So as you can see, there's quite a ways that his ownership can come up before he starts not being underowned. Portis is going to need to carry this offense tonight. He should get a lot of opportunities. You have no Giannis, you have no Middleton, you have no Holiday, you have no Brook Lopez. So minutes are there for Portis. Usage will be there for Portis. He's going to be surrounded by guys like Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Wesley Matthews, George Hill, Serge Ibaka. I mean, just guys that are not very high usage players. So it's likely that you see plenty of upside for Portis. The only real risk comes in, he is still a normal member of the Bucks rotation. So what happens if they do sort of limit his minutes? But unless we see something suggesting that they're going to, I'm assuming that you're getting 30 plus minutes from Portis tonight. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings as things currently stand: number 5, Terence Mann; number 4, Isaiah Roby; number 3, Luka Doncic; number 2, Luke Kennard; and number 1, Bobby Portis.